Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm chewing on a breakfast bar this morning. So please pardon the crunching and the munching and the mastication. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Major. How's everybody doing this morning? You could probably tell by the bags under my eyes. Hair not did. Oh, I got a lot of stuff going on here at the farm. So first and foremost, my curling set isn't working anymore. I can't even do my hair. It's a little distressing. I use the bendy curlers, the hot sticks from like the 90s, and you can't find them anymore unless you really get a good thrift bargain or somebody's getting rid of them at a yard sale. And my heating component died, so I haven't rolled my hair in almost 2 weeks. Gosh darn it. That's okay. That's all right. We're going to be all right. So this is what you get this morning. I've not slept well in several days. Probably on the verge of going a little manic because I haven't slept well. So let me fill you in without getting too sad. But I told you guys before, and I think I've mentioned it before, that our honey, who is she is a yellow lab. She was a rescue that we brought here to the farm about 8 years ago. Good morning. Good morning, Lisa. She hasn't been feeling well, and this is something that I've been discussing behind the scenes with Lisa from Yogi Hollow Farm. So I was up quite a bit last night checking on our girl. Papa Jim and I have come to the realization that we just need to let her do her thing. For the last several days, she's been, when we take her outside to potty, let me tell you what's going on. She has severe arthritis in her back, hips, and legs. And about a week and a half ago, she stopped standing and walking. Took her to the vet, got her some medication, and they said, let's see how this does. She's eating, she's drinking, she's feeling fine, she's happy. Well, a few days ago, she started dragging herself under the deck, which our deck is 16 feet deep. And our yard is at a slope. So she can get in and we can even, crawl under. But then as it gets closer to the house, the space becomes narrower. So she gets back there too far, we're not going to be able to get her out without removing boards from the deck, which Papa Jim has had to do. He's had to remove some panels. So she's been crawling back there and she spends her days under there. The first day that she started really going around the yard and I started letting her do the things she wanted to do, I was trying to jockey the car around, different parts of the yard so she'd have shade, but she'd never stay there. And I sent Lisa a video of her dragging herself. Just she walks with her front feet and just drags her body behind her, and it's really sad. And so Papa Jim's been taking the panels off of the deck and crawling under there and getting her out and bringing her in the house. And then she has to go out in the middle of the night because she whimpers and lets us know she needs to go out. She can't stand to go potty, so it's a mess. And, yesterday, I think it was the day before, I started telling Jim, I said, she likes to go under the deck. Let's just leave her there and see what she does. So not last night, but the night before, we left her. We let her do her thing. She came out to get water when she wanted water, and then she went back in. And around 10 o'clock, she started barking. And we went outside at 10 o'clock, and sure enough, she was by the steps. She was ready to come in. So we brought her in, but she didn't stay in very long before she was uncomfortable and wanted to go back out. And even though if we put her on the couch, she's very comfortable on the couch. But I can't take her down off the couch because of this wrist injury that I have. So I have to wake up Papa Jim to come take her off the couch, carry her down the stairs outside, let her potty, and bring her back in. And so we just left her until she was ready to come in, but on the couch, on the pillows, her doggy bed, doesn't matter. She just really doesn't seem comfortable. She's really comfortable underneath the deck. And she's got her mounds of dirt that she lays in, and she likes that. She's always spent a lot of time under the deck. So last night, Papa Jim and I finally kind of came to the conclusion that she's really not eating much anymore. He even offered her some steak, and she kind of turned her nose up at it the other day. And he cooked her fresh hamburger last night. She didn't eat it, but she did eat a little bit this morning. So we didn't bring her in last night. She didn't bark to be brought in. She stayed outside. She did come out from underneath the deck when she wanted something to drink. And I checked on her several times last night, so I haven't had much sleep. So this is what you get this morning. But I would check on her in the middle of the night, and she would just be sitting in the yard and just looking up at the stars. And yesterday she spent some time underneath the lilac bush. And this morning, early this morning, when Papa Jim was getting ready to go to work, I asked how she was doing. He says, she's just in the grass looking out across the fields, and she just seems content. So as much as just go let her do it under her own terms. So this morning she's out there, and she's not sitting up this morning. She's laying down this morning out in the grass, and she just has her nose nestled into a bunch of little dandelions. She's not looking at us when we call her anymore. When we call her, she doesn't look at us. Even if she's sitting and looking out at the fields, she will not avert her gaze and look at us. She's just content. And that's what we've come to. That's what we're going to accept, right? We're going to let her do things on her terms. Crocheting, by the way, it's been a great way to be distracted. But up here where I am, up in the craft room, I've been editing some videos this morning, working on a couple of fun new projects. And every so often I get up and I look out, make sure that she's still in the same spot. Which I need to do real quick. Hang on a second. She is. Okay, so like I said, we're going to let her do her own thing, but I also want to make sure if she decides to drag herself off under a tree somewhere or something, I'm going to let her. But I want to make sure she doesn't drag herself like into the driveway or out into the road or down into a ditch where we can't get to her safely. But I'm just going to let her do her thing. So it's been a tough week and a half here on the farm, saying goodbye to a friend. And I shared with Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. I shared with Lisa over at Yogi Hollow Farm. I'm spending a lot of time out there with her, but I'm also giving her space. And I forgot where I was going with that. I'm going to let her have her Marley and me moment. This is what I shared with Lisa. I shared with Lisa last night that I had read a beautiful thing some time ago that said, dogs are not meant to live with us the rest of our lives. Dogs are meant to live with us their entire lives. And that's the way that I need to look at this. She has spent 8 beautiful years with us. 8 years. And she was found out on the interstate. Somebody had either left her or abandoned her. Or she was certainly going to die, with all those lanes of traffic in the grass in the middle of an interstate. And she was picked up by the highway patrol and brought to our vet's office. And I brought her home. And I brought her home to be a companion for my son, who was going through a very, very emotional low. And we were very worried about him. So I brought him home this dog to love him. And when he moved out and started his family and moved on in life, she stayed here with us on the farm. So, anyways, I shared with Lisa that I have a song that I sing to my animals when they're born on this barn or on this farm. Usually it was out in the barn. When they're born here, I sing to them. And then when they get ready to pass over the Rainbow Bridge, I sing to them. And it's the song from Charlotte's Web about Mother Earth and Father Time. So as she gets closer, I'll go out and I'll put a couple pillows down on the ground and lay down with her. I'll sing that to her. And I know when I had to take her in a few weeks ago, almost a month ago, when she had a bone stuck in her jaw, she had gotten hold of a rib from a deer. she runs this farm. I mean, that's it. For 8 years, she's just run this farm and she has so much fun. But she had picked up a bone, and when she was chewing it, it went up into her jaw. And so she had to be sedated. And I sang that to her as she was falling asleep so she wouldn't be afraid. So I'll go out there when the time comes. I know I'm looking down, I'm crocheting. I'm working on something really fun, guys. Wait till you see. Hello, doing better with Mariah. Thank you. This is Honey. She's our yellow lab. She's been with us for 8 years, and I thought she was 2 when we got her. So I thought she was 10 years of age, which for labs, their life expectancy is 8 to 10 years, or so I've been told. And but recently, when we took her in, they said she's much older than what we have on record. And she's between 13 and 15 years of age. So she's very old. They said she's very old. And she has extreme arthritis. And she's just doing what she needs to do to be comfortable. And I want her final memories to be of the beautiful fields and the tractors out in the fields and the dandelions. And her little friends, our other dogs, go out and they lay down with her and they sniff and hang out with her. And then they leave her be. So we're just leaving her be to do her thing. So Papa Jim and I had the difficult discussion this morning about where to plan to put her when she passes. So we've picked a spot for her. And my fervent wish is I'm hoping she either goes today or goes Friday, but I don't want her to go tomorrow because tomorrow is Papa Jim's birthday. And on his birthday 3 years ago, on his birthday, Honey and our other dog, Julian, they went on walkabout. They did not have their perimeter collars on, and Honey doesn't need one. She'll stay on the farm. But Julie, when those two were together, they'd roam. And there were times, like on the local sale page, I would see pictures. Are these your dogs? And it's like, oh, crud, those are my dogs. And they would be like 10 miles away in another town, running the streets, one on each side of the road, just running like they just own the place and not causing havoc, just on walkabout. And 3 years ago on Papa Jim's birthday, they went on walkabout and only Honey came back. Julie didn't come back. And we would ask Honey, where's Julie? Where's Julie? We were hoping, like Lassie, she would take us to her. And she would just cry, how dogs do. And so we didn't even mention her name anymore. Something bad happened. So Jim has always had that heavy heart that on his birthday, his dog didn't come home. And so I'm hoping that on his birthday tomorrow, Honey doesn't decide to cross the Rainbow Bridge. I'm hoping she'll wait till the next day. So, but we picked out a lovely spot for her. In one of the places that she just loves to play. And I'm really trying, and Lisa's been a great help. Lisa has been a really great help at letting me kind of volley back and forth with her in a chat about what's going on. And she always encourages me to take care of myself. She understands this. She's been through this. So I'm trying to put on a brave face a lot of the times, but it isn't easy because I do get very, very attached. I know we all do. But I tend to over romanticize things. And I'll share with you that one time I had 2 little ducks and they were, oh gosh, his name was Willie and Winifred, I believe. And she was just a tiny little duck, and he was an Indian runner, and they were just in love. They ran around together, those two. Even though we had other ducks, he always tried to protect her from the other ducks. That was his girl. And one day she passed away. And he just didn't want to come around anymore. He was very, very sad that his little Winnie was gone. And one day I was standing at the kitchen sink and I was doing the dishes, and I looked out at the little pond that I had made for the ducks. We'd had a hailstorm and a rainstorm, and the skies had cleared. And I mean, in reality, I probably really know what happened, but in my mind, I always romanticize things. But as I was doing the dishes, I saw something in the pond, and I thought, well, maybe it was a plastic bag that blew into the pond or something. And then I realized I knew it was him. our little male duck, our drake, I realized that he probably, truthfully, probably what happened is he was probably out in the pond and the hailstorm came in and he was probably overtaken by the storm and he died. But our pond, our pond has this little bridge, this little wooden bridge, and I put it at the edge of the pond so the ducks could walk over into the pond and then swim and then walk back out over the bridge into the orchard. And in my mind, I had shared with everybody that poor he actually stood on the edge of the bridge and flung himself into the cold waters because he was so despondent over the loss of his love. And I romanticize these things. These are the stories I tell myself. I know that that's not how he died, but in my mind, I knew that he was so sad that he just couldn't go on without her. That's just the way I do things. Oh, anyways, what have I missed in the chat here? I'm not going to respond, Alicia, because I don't want you to be more upset. Yes, I get it. It is so hard. You like my top? You like this top? Thank you, Major. Cost me 50 cents, 50 whole cents. Anyways, let's move on to something else. I'm working on a couple of really fun projects, and I've got one in my hand right now. I have a lot of yarn. I have a lot of stash that I need to figure out what to do something with. So I figured out what I'm going to do. And last year I had this desire to do something and I didn't follow through with it. And I think I need to do it this year. So in addition, excuse me, to getting my my garden in, which I'm working on every morning, and getting my chicken coop all squared away, which Papa Jim and I worked on this last week, and tending to the animals, and my house is a disaster, so I've got chores I need to do. Good morning, Grace and Fire. How about fill in your favorite football team? Oh, I get you, Lisa. I'm moving on. What I want to do is I'd like to set up my summer kitchen to kind of just be like a little drive-up gift shop, egg shop. I wanted to do it last year. I bought some things to do it, and then I just didn't do it. But this year, I think I really need to follow up on it. So I want to let it be known in my little community that on certain days, they can pull up into the yard and they can go into the summer kitchen, and I will have some of my crocheted canning mats, some of my crocheted farm dishcloths that are 100% cotton dishcloths, and eggs, and maybe some of my jams and jellies that now I won't be able to eat, but I can still can some jams and jellies because you don't have to have a cottage license or approval from the county for those, as far as I know. And I thought I would just set up my beautiful little summer kitchen for people to just pop in, buy eggs and a couple of other little handy things if they wanted, have it set up on an honor system. Good morning, Pafford Homestead. Making lunch and listening. Guys, I'm not sick. I've got the sniffles because I was emotional a little earlier, but let me show you what I made. I showed this to Papa Jim last night when he got home because I finished this yesterday, and I actually made this for, I believe I'm going to gift this to a friend of mine for her birthday, my BFF, but I might do another one that might be more her color scheme. I'm trying to figure out what exactly she wants. I know, Lisa. It's hard when there are licensings and laws and stuff, but out here, I don't believe I'm underneath too much restriction. So I just really want it to be where people could just drive up, go in the summer kitchen and buy what they want. So I showed this to Papa Jim last night when he came home. I said, look what I made. And he looked at me like I had really lost my mind, which he does that often. But this time he was really concerned. I said, I made this bag. Look, and I'm going to hold it up for you and I'll show you. I said, look what I did. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Look. And he goes, your handles on that bag are really messed up. Something's wrong. I was like, isn't it pretty? He goes, well, the colors are pretty, but your bag is really, are you okay? I said, yeah, it's a special bag. Let me show you. Let me show you, first of all, look at the beautiful pattern, first of all, and then look at the beautiful way that the colors worked. This is one skein of yarn. I've had this skein of yarn sitting up here for a couple of years, not knowing what to do with it. I initially was going to make a cover for my Instant Pot, which I've got some fun ones that I've done, but it just didn't look right. It didn't feel right to me. So I unraveled it, rolled it into a ball, and I put it away. And I thought, when the perfect project comes along, I'll know. And this was it. So it's like, he goes, what is wrong with you? I said, let me show you. This wider handle here, you take the thinner handle and you put it through the wider handle. Look at that bag. Isn't that adorable? And then you just slip that over your wrist. It's a perfect bag for going to the beach. It's a perfect bag for going to the farmer's market. It's not lined. So if you take this to the farmer's market and you pick up some apples or potatoes or, whatever, a head of lettuce, you can just open your bag, pop it in there, slip the handle through, and just put this right back over your wrist and keep on walking through the farmer's market. And nobody will be the wiser. But look at that. Isn't that pretty? I love it. So I thought, if I had a few of these out there, people could buy a dozen eggs, slip their dozen eggs in here, buy the bag, walk out the door. So there are so many different things you can do with this. Because, when we went to the Tulip Festival the other day, I didn't want to take my good bag. I know Lisa has a Coach. I've got a Coach. I've got the Misha bags. I don't need them out here at the farm, but I have them. And it's like, I don't want to go to the Tulip Festival where there's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people and set down my Coach bag or whatever. This would have been perfect if I would have had it done in time, because the little things that I bought along the way, the little, tchotchke things, I could have just opened up my bag and dropped them in there. What's really nice is if you go to a little cafe, this fits right over the little knobby on a chair, if you're sitting in a chair, whatever. And I just love that it just becomes a little wristlet that you can just wear on your wrist. The bag I did take had the straps that you put up over your shoulder. And when you're walking, somebody bumps it, it falls off, and you're constantly putting the shoulder bag back on, right? Not this. So I'm making more of these, and I'm going to work on a few different patterns of these. I'm just going to make them available for sale. And then also out in my little, I might put some on Etsy, and I might put them out into my little summer kitchen. I think that would be fun. What did Gwen say that's got Lisa saying, when you first held it up, I thought it was a shirt and the straps were off. That's why I wear a vest when I can't. Oh, inside pockets. Yes. I haven't carried a purse in years. And it's not even that carrying a purse, so to speak. I have a really neat little wallet that has a magnet on it. And sometimes I can just like tuck it in my shirt and it magnets, or tuck it in the hem of my pants and it magnets, and I don't have to carry a purse. But if you're going to the farmer's market, I mean, why not take something like this to the farmer's market? Or if you're going to go junking or antiquing or whatever, you've got a little something to just put your goodies in. I think it would be a great little thing. So I'm going to make up a bunch of those and throw those in there. So I'm working on one now. And I'm going to use these two colors. Aren't those pretty? Don't you think that'll be pretty? Look at that. And so I'm going to make them in sections. Major, you don't carry a purse either? Goodness sakes, what's wrong? So it's not a purse, it's a shopping bag. The other thing I'm working on, I'm keeping a secret. I gave Lisa a little sneak peek last night, but I'm working on something fun. Hubby's calling. Un momento. It may be important. Sorry. He very rarely calls me in the middle of a work day. I take a wagon when I go to a market, whether it's a farmer's market or a flea market or a swap meet. That's very smart. Very smart. I take Ryan in the truck. That's smart too. But like instances like when we went to that Tulip Festival, I wouldn't have been able to get through the market, or even those little rolly carts that you do take when you go shopping, the little narrow ones that fold up, that wasn't going to work. This would have been an ideal thing for me to take. So I'm going to make more of those. And like I said, I'm making something for another surprise, which I think I like it a lot. It's something I've been looking at for, oh gosh, I've been looking at making one of these for several months, and then I just haven't gotten the ball rolling on it. But I think it's time that I do this. And I'm looking at different patterns and then figuring out how to write my own, so it will go hand in hand with my my canning mats. So these are my canning mats. And what I'm going to be doing is going to be the same pattern as my canning mat. Look at how this made almost like an argyle. It's self-pulled. That's kind of neat. So hubby went to a swap meet a couple weeks ago. 3 days, called me and said first day they walked 17 miles. Oh my goodness. And it was important. That was Mr. Jim calling, like I said, and our doctor, I don't know why she did this. What is she thinking? She went and had a baby. So she's on maternity leave. So he had to reschedule his appointment because I don't know what it is, but they said, well, you can see this other doctor that's filling in for her. And my husband says, well, will I be getting a refill on my prescriptions? And they said, probably not. He's just filling in for just, and he's like, then why am I going? Why am I going if I can't get a refill on the prescriptions? That's why I'm going, is to get the checkup, to get the prescriptions filled, because they make you come in so many months and get your labs and all that stuff. So we're taking care of that. So I'm going to work on getting my summer kitchen spring cleaned. It's amazing how many things pile up in there during the winter time. Papa Jim actually brought me a leaf blower in there yesterday. He says, when you get it all straightened out, just turn on the leaf blower and open up the door and just blow all the stuff out. And that's what I'll do. So I'll blow it out. I'll set it up, and I'm just going to have things in there for eggs. I'm going to keep an eye out. I was looking before. I used to have a beautiful little egg stand that used to be at the entrance of the driveway. I had a little egg stand, and it was in the barn when the barn collapsed. So the egg stand is no longer. So I asked Papa Jim if he would build me another egg stand to keep out at the road. And I might still do that, but I think I might try to set something up in the summer kitchen. My only fear is somebody trips and falls or something, then we're going to be liable. I might keep it out there. So we'll see. I don't know. There's all these, Lisa knows I overthink things all the time, but I think I'm going to set something up in my summer kitchen. So I'm working on little things to put out there. It's a nice distraction. I have a million things to do. Like I said, my house is an absolute disaster, and the garden isn't done yet. And here I sit crocheting in the early morning with a cup of coffee because I need that distraction right now. So I'm just going to work on a few things to put out there. And I'm going to work in my garden a little bit more today. It's almost straightened out. I tell you what, I showed you guys the other day when I went live. Well, I don't know if you got to see it because the camera froze. But I made a teepee for my green beans out of the stalks from my sunflowers from last year. And I'm going to be doing a video on that for Glenda. And I've just got this lovely little teepee, and all of my little green bean seedlings are out there, and they're sprouting and they're starting to grow up. I'm going to get some jute. I can't find my jute in this mess, and put some jute so they'll have something to grab onto as they climb up. And I went out there yesterday, and it's like the whole green bean garden's a mess. And my chickens have not been in there because the chickens are under tight security now. The chickens are under such tight security, my son is calling it club fed. He says it looks like a prison yard. It's like, what's wrong with all of my green beans? Where'd all my green bean goes? There's a squirrel. There's a squirrel coming in, and he's decided that's where he's either gonna, he might have buried a bunch of nuts in that portion of the yard last winter, and he's coming back to collect his nuts, or he's putting something in, but he keeps going into this one little bed and making a mess with all of my little green beans. By the road, it's right of way, at least here it is. I had it out there before. Yeah, I'm responsible. The thing is if they pull into the driveway and they get out and get the eggs, there's less chance of them tripping as there is going into the garage. My best friend showed up here to surprise me for my birthday last year, and she was trying to run into the garage, which is the summer kitchen, to hide. And when she opened the door and ran in, the threshold's this high in a garage. It's not a normal threshold. She just face planted. So I'd have to paint a yellow strip or put something that says "Watch your step" or something like that. Realized last night at 9:30 I had lost my phone. I'd been in the garden weeding 2 trips with a flashlight, finally found it laying there in between the rows of tomatoes. Oh, Papa Jim came home the other day. Let me turn this on so you can actually see it. Um, I don't know if you can see it. I was trying to carry honey outside. Look at my phone. Look, I dropped it. Look at that screen. It is cracked. Look at that. You can see it better when drop my phone. He goes, "What were you doing?" I said, "I was trying to carry the dog." He says, "You don't carry the dog and the phone at the same time." I had the phone in my back pocket, and as I was going down the stairs with this 60-pound dog, I must have jostled it. And because my pants don't fit as tight as they used to, thank you very much. It's not like I've got that phone wedged in there like I used to back in the day. So at some point, I'm going to have to get me a new phone, because that's, you run your finger across to do things, and it's catching my fingers just a little bit. Phone Olympics. Oh, he will get me a new one. He will get me a new one. I have no worries. So let's see. I've got tomatoes in. I've got green beans in. I went over to my daughter-in-law's the other day. Last year for my birthday, I got 2 beautiful Boston ferns. And I watch a channel, Doug and Stacy. They live one state south of us, and they get cold winters, but not as cold as we get cold winters. But they get cold winters, and she leaves her Boston ferns out all winter long, and then they come back in the spring. So I thought, well, if Doug and Stacy can do it, I can do it. So I left my Boston ferns in the summer kitchen with all the doors closed, so it wasn't as cold as it is outside, but they didn't make it. So took out my Boston ferns. I really did try nursing them to see if little baby ferns would come back out, but I think they just got too cold because it was very, very cold this last winter. So lesson learned, next time I'll just put them in the basement if I get them again. I got them from the Amish community. They're beautiful. So I planted some, who knows if it's going to work, but I took them out of the hanging baskets and I put some fresh dirt in, some fresh potting soil, and I put in all of my sweet potato runners because they're pretty, they're ornamental, they're pretty. I don't expect to get sweet potatoes out of them anyways, but I thought they'd be pretty in the baskets. And then I put a loofah in each one, and I hung them up on the end of the new duck run. And I'm hoping the loofah will go up and over the duck run and at least provide some shade. I think we have a short enough growing season. I'm not sure if I'm going to get big loofahs here, but at least the loofah leaves will grow, and maybe we can do something fun with that. So, mine die. I think we're in the same growing zone. Yeah. And Boston ferns are hard to keep alive anyways, but I don't, Doug and Stacy, they just put them out there and they do fine. She doesn't do anything with hers, and they just do it. So I've got the sweet potato vines and the loofahs in the baskets hanging on the end of the duck run. So hopefully those will grow over. And I've got all of my things ready for Glenda's sunflowers, but they're not in yet. They're going in today. I had to get some additional dirt and soil and move things around. And that stinker squirrel better stay out of there. But I don't know. Garden's coming together. I got a new little sweet pea garden put together for the grandkids when they come over, because they love to come over and just eat the sweet peas. And my garden stock is in 3 layers this year instead of one big tall garden green stock thing. So I've just been working outside. I've been working outside. I have adult attention deficit disorder. I think we all know this, right? It's evident by all the things I've always got constantly going on that I never finish. So the other day it was like, well, I'm going to spend an hour here doing this and an hour here doing this. And I was just bebopping all over the farm. So happy that I had a nice, beautiful day to work. So that's what I'll be doing today. I've got one video rendering. When it's done, it's going up. The next video will render. I'm going to work on my little projects here a little bit, but I'm going to go out well in the beautiful part of the day, spend a little time with Honey. pick a corner of that summer kitchen to get cleaned up a little bit, get a little bit more done in the garden. I'm not going to do any of my housework inside because I've been inside all winter long. So I think for the next week, if there are no dishes, it's going to be paper plate time, and there will be no judgment the fact that the sink is full. I need a day to do your green stalk. Oh, you need to do your green stalk gardening. I'm not wearing glasses and my eyes are fuzzy this morning. She's probably got a secret. They are always up to something cool. Who's got, oh, I don't know. I think Doug and Stacy, if she could, I think she would tell us. I don't think they're a lot of fun though. My mother-in-law buys Boston ferns every year. I was mowing back behind our pond and found where she had dumped all of her dead plant pots, Boston ferns growing everywhere. Oh, you know what? I have the 2 Boston ferns that I don't think made it. I was going to divide them and try it. But then as I divided them, it's just like I didn't see anything that made me think that there was anything viable. But I will take those ones that I quartered and I will put them back in a corner behind the summer kitchen, and I'll see if they grow anything. That would be fun. That would be fun. So I won't put them in the regular compost pile. I'll put them back behind the corner there and see if anything grows from them. I also have a stump garden that I need to clean out because I want to get all of the burdock out of there. Burdock is a terribly invasive weed that we have here that I just absolutely can't stand because it has sticker burrs all over it and they stick to your clothes. They're a pain. So I need to clean that out because all it took was a couple seeds to grow in there last year and it just overtook the place. So I'm going to get out there with the holy hoe. I'm going to clean all that out. And then I'm just going to take my zinnias from last year and I'm just going to throw them all over the place and hopefully I'll get a bunch of zinnias. I hate that I start doing one thing, get distracted, start doing another thing, totally forget what I was doing, and then continue something I was doing days ago. I do it all the time. All the time. I will get outside today, Lisa. I didn't get outside much yesterday. I had a headache. I think I got dehydrated the day before working in the garden. I don't do well with heat. I really don't. And we've had a couple hot days. Lisa's seen some pictures where my face is just red. And I get overheated very easily. And I think I did that 2 days ago. I got a little bit too warm, didn't drink quite enough water. And I paid for it yesterday with a migraine type of like a dehydrated headache all day yesterday. So I just stayed in and I watched the whole Johnny Depp trial thing yesterday. Boy, wasn't that a cluster. And just did some things and spent time with Honey. I didn't watch the whole trial. Spent time with Honey and time with the dogs and doing things around the house. But I don't know. See what I can get done today. Mathematics professor, did you know gardening gives you autism? I'm not sure about that. I don't know about that. I'm getting outside today, not near as hot as by you. Yeah, it's going to be warm again. I don't know about the whole autism thing, but I'm gardening because we're growing our food. And Lisa, don't be shocked. I do have my cucumber seedlings up and they're going out into the old pea garden. They're going to grow up over the trellis out over in the front of the yard and get that started. And my yellow squash and my zucchini have sprouted. My lettuce bed inside the kitchen, my aquaponics, or not aquaponics, hydroponics lettuce garden is just like a jungle. And so I think either today or tomorrow, I'm going to harvest a whole bunch of it, put it in my salad spinner. I've got some eggs that I've boiled so we can have some eggs in a salad. And I just think we're just going to have a big, beautiful, maybe it's kind of like a chef salad or something in the next couple of days. You watched it for the first time. Oh, I don't know, Grace. On fire. I'm lost. Oh. Now, I didn't start my latest project with this because it's not the right size hook, but I do have my new crochet hook right here. Guys, look what Glenda's husband made for me. Look at this beautiful, first of all, it's a necklace. Oh, the trial. Got you. Look at it, matches my shirt. It's got beautiful same colorations as my shirt. Look, this is gold and teal. This is acrylic. And look what happens. Take it out, turn it over, and look at it's a crochet hook. Let's see, put it where you can see it's a hook. Isn't that pretty? I love it. But I didn't start my recent project with it because I need to get more hooks. I need to buy hooks from you. Speaking of ADD, I know. Oh, you're keeping me on my toes. Okay, well, I need it today, and it's very easily to get me discombobulated today with everything that's going on in my life right now. But anyways, what about you guys? What are you guys up to? Put in the chat what you've been up to lately, and let's talk a little bit about you guys. It doesn't have to be all about me and my issues. I do all my garden work now in the late evenings. We've hit 98 so far this week. Yeah, it's been warm, Gwen. I hear you. I try to go out in the early morning, tend to my chickens, get the garden watered, and do what I need to do there. I've moved some wrought iron furniture in there, and I've got some pillows that I'm putting on my little seat so I can go out there and have my coffee in the morning. And I do that little bit, and then I tell myself, okay, I'm only going to work out here an hour, and then I'm going to go inside so I don't get overheated. I'll work in the garden. I'll have to run into the summer kitchen to grab something. And it's like, oh, I need to gather this up and take it outside. And I'll walk outside and it's like, don't just set it down, take it over to the burn pile. So I walk it over to the burn pile. And then when I'm there, it's like, my son told me if I cleared out this one spot where the barn fell, if I clear this one spot, he's going to buy me a new greenhouse. But I have to clear it first. So I get the shovel and I'm just going to do 6 square feet. I'm going to do a little bit every day. And then I end up doing more than I should. And then it's like, oh, I need these buckets for the sunflowers. So then I grab those and I take them back to the garden. And then I tell myself, go inside. It's like, oh, I need to grab that one seedling right there and I need to get it planted. And I just keep going. And instead of coming back in by 10 o'clock, it's 1:30. I'm completely overheated, dehydrated. And then I come in and I'll make myself something to eat. And I tell myself, don't go back out there until the cool of the evening. Get some stuff done here in the house. And I do. I start something in the house. I'll start something in the kitchen. And it's like, oh, an empty egg carton. I should probably take that out to the summer kitchen. And it all starts all over again. I go out to the summer kitchen. It's like, oh, I need to grab that Boston fern and see if I can save it. Just keep going and going and going. I have a leak. Oh, you have a leaking stock tank that needs to be addressed. Oh, that's a bummer. Lisa, I hope you guys are able to figure out what's going on with that. You're watching your live, you need to get moving. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I think the professor's just trying to keep us going. You're making lunch, Glenda. That's wonderful. Got lots of inside work need to be doing, but inside work just doesn't motivate me. I know, my house. Right now, I look like a hoarder. I've got so much stuff everywhere between the aquaponics, between Papa Jim's new fish tank that he got, and all of the stuff that's been coming in for that. There's just stuff everywhere. It got over 90 degrees on Saturday where you are in Massachusetts. Is that Massachusetts, Etherland? JB Weld is awesome for patching stock tanks. That's wonderful. That's good. I like that stuff, though, where it's just like a piece of tape and you slap it on there, that new commercial. That looks like that would be something that would work for stuff. I just want to slap it on there and stop the water from coming out. I wrote a very neat story one time, though. I wrote it in my blog. And it was about a cracked pot. And it makes me your leaking stock tank makes me think of this story, Lisa. It's about a cracked pot. And every day a man who was a servant on a big farm would put this yoke over his neck and carry 2 big pails, 2 big pots down to the river. He would go down this pathway down to the river every day, and he would fill the pots to take back up to his master's home to do the things that need to be done for the day. And of course, this is a parable. I don't want to get any flack for talking about masters and servants and all that, but just go with me on it. So one day, one of the pots said to the boy who takes him down to the river every day, he goes, I don't know why you continue to use me. I'm of no good to you. And the boy said, what are you talking about? And he says, well, I have a crack. I have a crack. And you put so much effort into your job every day. And by the time you bring me back up to the house, I'm half empty. And You do all of this work and I'm really no good to you because I lose so much of my water. And the boy said, you may be a cracked pot, but you're more valuable than you know. And let me tell you why. And the boy said, the next time we go down to the river, I want you to look at my pathway on the way back and tell me what you see. So the boy loaded up his yoke the next morning with both pots, one on each side, the one with no crack in it and the one with the crack in it, who didn't feel he was valuable anymore. And the boy walked down the path to the river and he filled them both up equally with water. And as he walked back, of course, the cracked pot leaked water all the way back up to the home. And the boy said to the pot, he said, did you notice anything on our way back? And the cracked pot was still so depressed about that he didn't feel he was any good. He couldn't see what the boy wanted him to see. And he says, no, I don't think I'm of value to you anymore. You just probably should replace me. He says, next time we go, I want you to notice on the way back to our master's home, the side that I carry you on, that path all the way up to the house is filled with beautiful flowers. When I walk back with you and your water leaks out of the crack that you have, that waters only one side of the path, and there's beautiful flowers that grow all the way up to the house because of you. That beauty is there. And because of you and that beauty is there, I'm able to go down every day and pick flowers to put on our master's table, and that brings him joy. So even though the other pot isn't cracked and it does its purpose of bringing the water to the house, you have your purpose in providing this beauty in your flaw. Because of your flaw, you create all of this beauty that you didn't even realize was there. So there's value and there's beauty in being a cracked pot. So I had learned this little parable one time, and I actually wrote a blog story about it one time because we're all cracked pots in our own way. And sometimes we just have to look to find the beauty that we bring into others' lives. When we think we're flawed, we're really adding beauty. We just don't see it. We have to have somebody sometimes point it out to us to see the beauty. Let's see. Yes, Massachusetts. I'm glad I got that right because my abbreviations for states, sometimes the M's and the A's always mess me up. You're trying to find things not to do. Let's see. Oh, Lisa, you got some Nubian goat milk and made butter? Yum. Yum. So the wife sent her husband. Again, I'm lost. My husband is a crackpot, but he spreads a lot of joy in this life, let me tell you. Anyways, guys, I've been on here for almost an hour. I told myself I was really only today going to do about a half an hour so I can go out and spend some time with honey, spend some time in my garden before it gets too warm, and I don't know, maybe do the dishes today. I'm not going to do the dishes. Today I have paper plates. That's what those are for. I just cannot bring myself to clean the kitchen right now. I do, however, have to clean my shower because my very best friend in Tennessee asked me last night, she says, what are you doing in June? And I said, not much of anything, I don't think. And she said, well, I'd like to come up for a visit. I said, okay, which I love having her here. I love having her here. And she always has a guest room at her ready. She has the guest room, and then the upstairs has its own bathroom. And you remember how many months ago was it, Lisa, where I pulled everything out of the craft room and threw it into the guest room so I could reorganize my craft room? It's not done. That bed is covered in crafts that I still have to organize and get into bins and get back into the craft room here. So I have to completely clean up the guest room, wash all the bedding. And we have really hard water here. So if you were to come here right now, my shower is not dirty, but my shower looks dirty because we have well water that has a lot of minerals and it has a lot of iron. So the fiberglass, stall always kind of looks like rust until I get in there and really clean it. And things will have hard water deposits on it until I really clean it. So it's not dirty, but it doesn't look clean. So I have to get my trusty mix together of the vinegar, Dawn soap, and hot water and get in there and spray everything down and scrub it and get all of the hard water residue off of everything before she shows up for a visit. So she's going to come here for a week. So I have got to get that situated before she gets here. And she says, I'll sleep on the couch. And you're not sleeping on the couch. You have a guest room. It's always here for you. I just need to get it situated. Bye, Heather Lynn. Oh, you let it sit for 2 days and scoop the cream off. Very smart. Very smart. Gwen says, I've made butter with my goat's milk. I just hate having to use the cream separator. We had a Holstein and a Guernsey growing up, and I used to milk them every morning. And we had the milk barn, and I would strain the milk, put it in the milk barn, and then we'd let the cream rise to the top, and my mom would scoop the cream, and then we would make our own butter. And I loved doing that. I haven't made it in a while, though, and I did have a dairy goat here, and I no longer have my goats, but I do miss making butter, and I do miss having the fresh milk. So it's really great, Lisa, that you were able to make butter like that. That's wonderful. I mostly make mozzarella cheese with my milk and then freeze the cheese. That's wonderful. You love to use a cream separator, but it's a pain to wash when you're done. So I've got lots of things to do here. I've got to stop with this whole hoarder's look here in the house, and I've got to get my garden going. And I got to make sure that I tell that squirrel to stay out of my green beans. I can't wait until the green bean TP grows up so you guys can see how that turns up. Goat's milk doesn't separate like cow's milk. We've never had it around long enough to even try to separate it. It does have a cream line, but that's only about half the cream that's in the milk. Gotcha. A little secret. I should bring it up on our Saturday live and see what Papa Jim says. But do you know that Papa Jim kissed me for the first time at a goat milk stand at the county fair? That's a true story. At the goat milk stand. Got me a little smoochy from that boy when I was 14 and he was 16. It was a lot of fun. All right, guys. I am going to say goodbye now. I promise I'm going to get off of this thing and go get some work done. Thank you guys for joining in and spending your morning with me. I do appreciate your friendship, your love, your prayers. I love spending my time with you in the mornings. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Hit the thumb on the way out. Stay tuned for some fun things. Stay tuned for that new project. When I release it, your brain's going to go, so cool. I want one. And I'll have a pattern available as well. So, all right, guys, take care. And we'll see you guys on Saturday. If not, we'll see you next Wednesday for the next coffee chat. Bye. I'm really going to say goodbye and not even read the chat. Otherwise, I'll get on another subject. End broadcast now. Click the button again.